Can we set an alarm clock and eat a half of granola bar? And sleep in. You've got, what time do you guys live? After practice. Okay, so you guys aren't getting up like 6 a.m. to do crazy lifting?
In the spring.
In the spring? Okay. The reason we harp on breakfast is because that's what really truly gets you started for the day. So if you skip breakfast and then you go off to class, how many of your instructors allow you to eat? I don't care if my students. Why don't you leave it up? Class.
Does not let you eat.
President Tressel.
He doesn't let you eat?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
8 minutes to finish my Chick-fil-A.
He holds the money though, so we probably.
Come on, I'll talk about it. Athletes need to eat. It's just the way it is. You guys really should be eating every 2.5 to 3 hours. How many of you guys do that?
I'm
Yeah? You guys that don't do it, tell me why. What's some of the variables as to
I
why you
usually
don't?
don't realize I'm not hungry.
You don't realize you're hungry, okay?
We're just too busy.
No, I just don't make
Too
time.
busy.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I talk about a lot is pretending you're a toddler. And I think Coach heard me say this in the coaches meeting. You guys should have snacks with you all the time. All the time, just like a little toddler, right? Mom pulls out the bag of Cheerios, right? You guys should have granola bars, trail mix, any kind of non-perishable stuff in your backpacks all the time. So if you have somebody who doesn't allow you to eat, eat in between. You know, grab a granola bar out of your bag and go. What we're working on, and hopefully it's up and running soon, we're gonna have a mobile training cart. It's gonna start in Stambaugh. It's basically like a fancy looking tool cart, and we are gonna stock it with pretty much everything I just talked about. Granola bars, fruit cups, squeezable applesauces, crackers, pretzels, chips, oatmeal if you wanna make oatmeal and take it with you. It's designed to supplement your meals. So you have to eat. You've got to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, but you've got to snack in between in order to get your calories in. And what we look to do, that, like I said, that'll start there. My goal is to get one here as well. So I got to keep talking to people. You talk to people too, and we'll get it because we house teams in both buildings, so we can't just have you guys having to run over there to the training cart. So again, the goal was to get one here, but what it's designed to do is help you guys with that variable of, A, if I have to have all the snacks, who's gonna buy them, right? You guys have some snacks in your room next door, correct? Okay, take advantage of it, okay? Because you guys have to eat, like I said, every 2.5 to 3 hours. I want you eating carbohydrate for sure, protein for sure, and fat for sure, okay? When we talk about protein, protein's one of those things that not everybody understands how it actually works in the body. Your body does not store protein to use later as protein, okay? So you have to eat protein the entire day. Every time you eat, you should eat protein because your body actually stores it in, like, think about a little kiddie pool, okay, we call it an amino acid pool. And as you consume it, your body cells take out what it needs, okay? It's constantly depleting these little pools inside the cell. So you constantly have to refill it. Because everything that you're doing is breaking down your muscle tissue, especially when you're in the gym, right? Muscles are not built in the gym, they're torn down in the gym in the weight room. We build them up after by what we feed them. So you have to feed them and you have to rest them. That's another key component to your recovery is rest. How many of you guys get like 2 hours of sleep a night? 4, 5, 6, hopefully. What's the minimum? Who gets the minimum? Anybody get less than 5? Good. Yeah, because you've got to rest. You have to sleep in order for your muscles to recover, okay? But we also have to feed them. So during the days, when we talk about breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do you guys utilize Stambaugh Cafe at all? Do you go there and eat? Tell me what.
It's $9.
It's $9.
If you want the truth.
Yeah, I need to hear because we're working on that too. What else?
I like it better.
I like it, yeah, it's just
Okay,
$5 every time you wanna get a meal.
gotcha. You know it's all you can eat, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and usually it's like to go and then you go back. That's usually how I am.
Another thing we're gonna start to do is on Wednesdays, I gotta come up with some kind of catchy thing, because I don't want it just to be talk to the dietitian, because that's boring. But on Wednesdays during the dinner hour, I think it's like 5:30 to 7, I'm gonna be in there to do like just a Q&A. You know, I'll have a couple students with me, so you guys come in, if you have something you wanna know, just come over and ask us, we'll be there. But when we talk about food, one of the things another thing that goes with it is, Coach, when we talk to you guys about your pregame and postgame, tell me what you do for pregame. What do you guys typically eat? I'm hearing a smoothie room, by the way. Some smoothies and serving under the net, something. Just,
Don't worry, they don't pay up.
you know?
No,
Tippy has.
Tippy has.
Yeah, here's like some Patrick, if somebody serves under the net,
They gotta bring me a spoon.
they gotta bring Coach a smoothie from
Oh.
Peyton at the cafe.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I heard that the other day, Chocolate, I was like, I'm talking to them next week, I'll bring that up. So anyway, what do you typically do pregame pregame meals here?
Here, we haven't been home yet.
Coming home yet? Oh my goodness.
Typically, I know like returners, we can answer that since we've been here. I know I like try to make a sandwich and eat yogurt. It's typical.
Okay,
Usually a
Change it
turkey
ice.
sandwich.
okay. How far in advance do you eat that?
Probably have to be here at 2 for treatment, so probably around like 1,
Okay, what time's your match usually start?
6.
Okay.
On the road, we timed it at 3.5 hours.
See, you didn't need me. You got it.
I do.
Okay, let's look, since we're talking about that, let's look at this chart, okay? Hands down, best time for a pregame meal is 3 to 4 hours out of your actual competition start, not the warm-up. Okay, the reason we like to do that is because you can eat much more substantially 3 to 4 hours out than you can an hour before, okay? So if we do a 3 to 4 hours out, if you look at the examples, you can do a full meal, but what we try to do is more carbohydrate than anything, some lean protein, we stay away from fat, we stay away from too much fiber. Because what we want to happen is that digests and gets to where it needs to be before you start to play. Because what happens when you exercise and what happens when you're digesting food? When you digest food, if anybody remembers from normal nutrition, you might remember, right? Blood rushes to your digestive organs to pull those nutrients from the food that's digesting out into your body, okay? If you start to exercise while that process is still happening, your muscles need more oxygen. So what carries oxygen? Blood, your red blood cells. So the brain says, hey, muscles need more oxygen. It's going to pull the blood away from the digestive tract to get to the muscles. So what happens is this just sits here. And the body does not like that. The body tries to constantly stay in homeostasis. So whatever is sitting in here is going to cause you GI distress. Okay? We call it NPD, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Or poopy pants. We do call poopy pants in sports nutrition. Right? We don't forget that. So if you've got stuff in your gut and you go and start, hardcore gamer conditioning, that's going to affect the way the food digests. Your muscles are going to win out every time. Your muscles need oxygen, the blood's going to move to your muscles. So it's going to slow or stop that whole digestive process. So what we try to do is get that bigger meal in earlier, and then we top you off. So if you eat 3 to 4 hours out, you can do your main meal. You could eat more of a sandwich. You could eat more yogurt. If you wanted to go bigger, you could do chicken breast. You could do salmon. We typically look for grilled things. We don't do fried anything before a game. Because what happens when you consume higher fats, the whole digestive process starts, but as the blood moves into the muscles, it actually starts to come back to the digestive tract and sits there because of that fat. Because if you eat fat, how long before you're hungry? Quite a while, right? Because it sits there, it takes longer to digest. So what happens is the blood moves back to the digestive organs, and that gives you that sluggish feeling. You feel heavy, you feel slow. Okay, so we do fat afterwards. We don't do fat before. So grilled lean proteins, carbohydrates like rice. We can do pasta 3 to 4 hours out. We can do baked potatoes, sweet potatoes. All of those things we can do 3 to 4 hours out. As we get closer, if you I'm a curious, okay? What is it the sports drinks do for you? Right, you've got electrolytes, right? Because your sweat is not just water. So we have potassium losses, sodium losses in your sweat. What else is in a sports drink? A little bit of sugar, right? Don't fear that. Don't fear the sugar. Okay, the reason it's in there is to provide you quick energy source. Because as soon as you consume a sports drink, they're designed to have between 6 and 8% carbohydrate in that 8 to 12 ounces. That is the amount that most athletes can consume while exercising that does not cause that GI distress. It moves fairly quickly through the digestive tract. But what it does is it helps to top you off after your big meal gets everything where it needs to be. This will top you off and get a nice supply of glucose in your blood. Okay? So when you start to play, and if you do, like I said, an hour before, 30 minutes before, just something liquid. You can try, and let me tell you this, do not ever try anything right before a game. Don't ever change anything the day of competition. Try it in practice, because coach would much rather have you throw up on her feet in practice than during a game, right? Right? You wanna see that face. What's that? Yeah. So we don't ever change anything, before a competition. We always try it in practice. If you want to switch up your hydration protocol, we do that during practice, or we do it during the off season. Okay. But if you do this, the closer you get to your warm up or your competition, the more liquid you want to go. Liquid empties the stomach faster than anything solid. So if you're somebody that can do a half of a banana an hour out, do it. That'll be great. Okay. Use some water, use some sports drink. If you want, I have a homemade sports drink you guys can make. You don't have to spend the money on Gatorade, okay? But same chemical makeup, so to speak. During the game, depending on if you guys play typically three, 5 games a match.
It's best.
Best of 5, okay. Do or tournaments on weekends, anything? I thought I saw on your
Those
schedule.
are done, but we do sometimes like twice in a day.
Okay. Because we fuel you a little bit differently. If you're at a tournament, you're playing back to back, but we still don't do anything big until 3 to 4 hours prior, and then after. So during, if you needed something, carbs and fluid, sports drink, it's a no-brainer. Okay, you're typically not gonna have any type of GI distress. It's gonna give you enough energy to get through that match. The biggest thing I can talk to you guys about is recovery, okay? Is when you guys are finished with competition, with strength and conditioning, whatever the case may be, your muscles are equivalent to, do you remember?
No.
A dry what? Do you remember?
What do you mean?
When I
What we
came to
should
talk
eat after.
when I talked about it when I came to guest lecture for Mrs. Cheng.
We should always eat like proteins and carbohydrates and drink enough water to kind of refill.
Exactly, because your muscles are like a dry sponge. Okay, think about a dry sponge and throwing it into a sink full of water. What happens? What's that? Make the noise, right? That's exactly what happens. And when you are finished,
She said make the noise.
I
know,
always do
so
that,
you got it.
because you know you're thinking it. Somebody has to do it, right? You throw that sponge into the water, it just sucks up that water. Your muscles are basically equivalent to that when you are finished working out. They are at their prime to get nutrients into them. That's why we do like a low-fat chocolate milk. Reason being, it's a 3-to-1 ratio of carbohydrate to protein. Everybody says, oh my gosh, it has so much sugar. No, 8 ounces of white milk, 8 ounces of chocolate milk. There's 35 more calories in the chocolate milk. That's it. That's equivalent to 2 lifesavers or a tiny little apple. Okay, but that extra sugar helps that protein get into the muscle quicker. Okay, we need to jump start that recovery process. So the second you guys are done, as soon as you can stomach it, you need to get something in there, carbohydrate and protein, because we have this little window, we call it, within 30 to 45 minutes from the time you stop your competition or exercise, within that 30 to 45 minutes. That's when we start to see that jump start for recovery. You need to get a recovery meal, absolutely, but this jump starts you. This is something that can hold you over until you get that recovery meal going. It's that recovery meal that you can kind of splurge a little bit. So if you look on here, it talks about protein, carbs, and fluid, the post-game meal, balanced meal, more relaxed guidelines, and the pre-game meal. That means if you wanted to splurge and do a steak, you could. If you wanted to splurge and maybe, you kill me if I say chicken wings, I'm just saying. Okay. After's when you do that, okay? Moderation, you don't want to eat a dozen, right? You don't need a dozen chicken wings, but if there's something you really, really like, after the game is when you do it. Okay, we're not as concerned as far as performance-wise. Now, if you continue to eat crazily after your games, then we're going to see body composition changes, right? We're probably going to see weight gain. We don't want to see that. So we need to make sure you're balanced, but it's that after meal, that post meal, that that you have a little bit more leeway. We can work in some more fat into that meal, but still keep your carbohydrate and your protein, okay? Do you guys, or when you're home, do you have anybody to cater in for you, or what's your plan for home meals? Or do you do group team meals?
So it's not in our budget. I have to fundraise for it, but we are planning on it. I just don't think I can feed them every home.
Okay,
We play Friday and Saturday, so I basically have to pick when I'm gonna feed them.
you can't do both.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, and we'll have it catered in.
Okay. Because what I can do is send you some ideas for, for you guys, what you're doing on your own. Some ideas, for your pregame meal on your own. And then if you tell me where you're thinking about having it catered in, I can look
We're
and
only
see.
allowed to do
Simple Greek.
simple Greek, Valeria.
Simple Greek ballerina, just one more.
Panera Bread,
Why is that?
because the business office makes us pick, so that they don't have to do a lot of big work.
See what I mean, Patrick? All these things you find out, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we had to pick, so we picked those three.
okay. All right, I'll get those names off of you and then I can give you kind of a little rundown.
Okay.
Okay, so pregame meal, again, carbohydrates, proteins, a little bit of fat. 3 to 4 hours out, top off prior. The other thing you have to always pay attention to is hydration. Okay, hydration is a 24/7 beast that will stop you in your tracks. Dehydration will stop you in your tracks faster than anything you do or don't eat. Okay, hydration is so important because every cell in your body needs water. Our bodies make a little bit of water every day. It's called metabolic water, and the electron transport chain, taking back to biochem, right? Yeah, I know. That's my thought too. Yeah, that's what you said. You get a tiny little bit of metabolic water, nowhere near enough to sustain life. Okay. You guys, the easiest way to figure out where to start with your water is to take your weight, cut it in half, and go that many ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you need to start at 75 ounces of water a day. That's a start. Look at your left. Nowhere near that, are you? It's going to do a lot for you. It's going to help you prevent soft tissue injuries. Okay, hydrated muscles are much more flexible. Think about a piece of Laffy Taffy. Everybody knows Laffy Taffy, right? Think about it nice and warm. Stretch it. Think about putting it in the fridge for a little bit, right? Hydrated muscles are much more flexible. So drink. Most of your fluid's going to come from either your sports drinks, your waters, your milk, your beverages. Some will come from your food because everybody here eats lots of fruits and vegetables, right? Right? Tons of vitamins, especially now with cold and flu season coming, really helps to boost up the immune system. So incorporate those into every day. I can send you a list to help incorporate those in. But hydration is key, like I said, because of the fact every cell in your body needs water. It will help you to thermoregulate, meaning it helps you keep that core body temperature where it's supposed to be. You guys need to really think about that, more so when you're playing in the summer and it's super hot. But being properly hydrated is the #1 way to prevent heat-related illness. Okay, exertional heat-related illness, exertional hyperthermia, so to speak, is 100% preventable through proper hydration. Okay. But you can't just hydrate with water when you're sweating like a pig. You've got to be able to get the electrolytes back in. So switch off between water and sports drinks both. Okay, that'll help to replenish the potassium and the salt that you lose. Also, when we talk about having things with you, you should always have that water bottle with you. I want you guys drinking pretty much from the time you get up till the time you go to bed. Okay. It's really going to help you. It's going to help also with this fatigue, this nutrition-related fatigue that we talked about. One of the main components of that is being like chronically dehydrated. You don't have to be dehydrated to the point where you're like lethargic, but you can be something called underhydrated, which is you're just kind of on the cusp, and it wouldn't take much for you to reach the dehydration stage. Okay, so if you guys bump up your water, if you do nothing else but bump up your water intake, you're going to start to feel a little bit better. Okay, it's going to give you endurance for everything you guys are doing. Okay. Let's talk about your snacks between classes prior to practice. Some of you have class until like 12:15, and then you come here and have practice at 1. How many of you don't eat prior to that? Is it this one? No? Prior to that, when's the last time you eat? When?
Well, I've been eating before my class. So the last time I ate today was 10:45.
It's 4:09.
Oh my gosh, you haven't eaten since 10 to like 11 o'clock? Nothing? You're standing.
Hmm.
How about you?
No, I ate too.
What
I had
time?
time, I had time.
You have some time?
Yeah.
Okay. Part of the way I wanna solve that is, again, you guys have a lot of variables because of your class schedule, because of money, because of, not being able to be where you can actually get a meal. So what I want you guys to think about is how you can structure either a bigger breakfast or a bigger lunch, and then we use snacks to supplement in between, okay? So for you, for instance, definitely have stuff in your backpack, okay? And then eat in between classes. Have something in you before you come here. And even if it is just sports drink, you would be surprised with just a little bit of sugar that's in sports drink. If you drink, if you go to see a trainer or
Yeah.
okay. Even if you were to drink some sports drink while you're there, if you're permitted to, it's gonna help you a ton when you come to practice, okay? Because your body, you guys are constantly breaking down your muscle tissue, okay? You are forever pounding, and then you get up the next day and you come back to repeat. If you don't recover in that time frame, you're only gonna be able to repeat so many times before your body starts to say, I can't do it. And your body does not talk to you in words, it talks to you in symptoms. So you're gonna start to feel fatigue, you're gonna be at a higher risk for injury. You're gonna be tired all the time, okay? So we've gotta make sure you're getting enough in to offset, like I said, what you're putting out, okay? The other thing that I usually talk to my female athletes about is something called female athlete triad. Has anybody ever heard of that? Okay. What it is, and there's a paper here with this young lady on front. I always throw my papers in my pocket, always. All right, this energy availability. Okay. This is something we see a lot in sports where more of an aesthetic appeal is needed, like for instance gymnastics or cross country running, where they want to be super light and super thin. The problem with energy availability and lack of is, again, you cannot recover if you are not feeding yourself enough calories. And it does not come down to, I need 6,000 grams of protein a day. It comes down to carbohydrate and fat for your main sources of calories so your body can use protein to build muscle. Okay, we want to have enough calories coming into you that the protein that you eat throughout the day is helping muscle synthesis, and you want that muscle to grow. All right, when you guys go to bed at night, you're constantly in a process of breakdown and build up. The body's forever fighting between breaking down muscle and trying to build it back up, trying to repair tissue. The only way that happens is to make sure you have enough calories coming in. So when we talk about this energy availability, there's a series of things that happen, and you can read through this gal's story. But what happens is you consistently don't take in enough energy to offset what you're putting out. Eventually, your body will turn off your period because your menstrual cycle takes a lot of energy. So it will start to mess with your endocrine system. It will turn off your menstrual cycle. If you miss a period for more than 3 or 4 months, okay, then we start to see issues with your bone health because the main hormone that helps control your period is estrogen. So if that shuts down, then we start to see issues with bone health. The problem is that even if I get you back on track and get enough calories into you, there's no guarantee that I fix your bone mass. Everybody in here heard of peak bone mass? Okay, peak bone mass happens at around age 30. So by the time you reach age 30, you will have built all the bone you're ever going to build. So your peak mass. It's everything you do from basically the day you're born until the day you hit 30. So if you are in a situation where you're not taking enough energy in and your period stops and we're messing with that bone, we're not going to get to that peak bone mass that we need you to be. Because from 30 on, you're either maintaining or losing. If we have somebody in this female athlete triad, those 3 things, low energy intakes, changes in menstrual cycle, and then we start to see bone softening, we could actually start to see onset of osteoporosis at like age 40. Osteoporosis shouldn't happen until 60, 70, okay? But if we're not taking in enough energy now, it's affecting your bone health. We also have to look at vitamin D. Okay, anybody in here ever have your vitamin D level checked? Blood work drawn? What's yours?
I had to take medication.
Oh, so you were low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also think we come from Brazil,
Okay.
where there's 362 days of sunshine.
To this.
So my body just
Yeah.
went into
Your
shock.
body's
I was like,
rejecting.
I had my check.
Okay.
I went back home now.
Do you remember what it was? What your number was? No? They didn't go, anything like that? Okay, probably okay. What happens is, of course, in Ohio, we get maybe, if we're lucky, maybe 3 months worth of good sun, all right? That's the easiest way to zero convert vitamin D, is sunlight on your skin, works and converts the cholecalciferol into vitamin D through your kidneys. Problem is, we don't have a lot of sunshine. We put sunscreen on, which inhibits that whole process. And then we have 9 more months out of the year, we just don't have it. So I'm a huge proponent of vitamin D supplementation. I've seen a couple of athletes who had numbers as low as 18. I like to see absolute bare minimum is 30, and that's low. For athletes, I'd like almost 50s and 60s, because that's a huge component of your bone health as well. But vitamin D also plays a role in muscle contraction and cramping, okay? So vitamin D comes from dairy. Do you have anybody who avoids dairy? We talked about this. She came to see me. Okay. If you do, we gotta make sure you're getting vitamin D from somewhere else, okay? If we start to see stress fractures, I would probably refer you to the team physician here to have your blood work done to see where we're at, all right? But if you do a nice balanced diet where you've got your whole grains, your fruits and vegetables, your dairy or another vitamin D calcium product, and your lean proteins, you guys are gonna be okay, as long as you're eating 3 times a day plus your snacks, okay? How many of you guys don't get 3 meals a day? No, you don't just get breakfast. It's okay. No? What do you typically get? Which meals?
2.
Which ones? Breakfast and lunch, or lunch and dinner?
Between breakfast and lunch and then dinner.
Okay. Okay, who else? Which meals do you typically get in?
Breakfast and dinner.
Breakfast and dinner. Okay. Again, try to work with what's working with you as far as if you're only getting 2 meals, but make sure you get other snacks in there. Okay, we don't want to use snacks as replacement meals, but if that's where we're at and that's what we have to do to make it work to get calories in, we can do that. Okay, if you guys want to come and see me, I can schedule appointments. You can come see me one-on-one. We can do something a little more tailored to your individual needs if you're looking to. Again, after the season's over, if you're looking to change your body composition, if you're looking to lose or gain, that's when we do it. I can work with you and give you plans for your off season all through the summer, so when you come back in the fall, you're good to go. Okay. You guys play club ball in the summer anywhere? You guys do that?
Freshmen all have to set up an appointment. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, she wants all the freshmen to come see me, so. Okay. Shoot me some questions. Anything? Yes, ma'am.
I have about 4.
You're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
4?
So,
No,
yeah,
sorry.
So protein drinks. I've seen like nutritionists and stuff too, and I've also heard that sugar is like really bad. Avoid sugar, don't eat sugar. With protein drinks where it's like 20 grams of protein and then 40 or 44 grams of sugar, that's okay, right, after workouts?
Yeah, because that's a 2-to-1.
Okay.
Okay, depending on what you guys drink, what is it? Do you know that? What's it called? Rock and Refuel? Yeah, that's like a 2-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein, so it's still definitely gonna help you.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole sugar thing is this villainization of one particular thing. If you sit and consume candy bars all day long, yeah, it's gonna be an issue. It's gonna be an issue. However, as an athlete, you guys are not going to be hurt by the sugar that's in that drink, for instance, or the sugar that's in a Gatorade, okay? It's when we combine that with diets that are high in other added sugars that we have issues. But if you think about food as if you can think about your food as it grows, grazes, or swims, right? As it grows off of a tree out of the ground, as it swims, or as it grazes in a pasture, okay? That's whole food. It's what we do to it after we pick it or harvest it or send it to the, wherever the animals go, right? It's what we do to it after that we screw it up. So if you can eat things in their most natural state, that's when you're gonna get most nutrients because they're still in there. It's when you start into the processed stuff that we see issues. However, for you guys, when we look at those supplemental snacks, I'm okay with the granola, the sugar that's in the granola bar, the sugar that's in the Gatorade, the sugars that are in, maybe an applesauce, because of the fact that we've gotta make sure that you were getting those glycogen stores back up. Your body can only hold so much glycogen at one time. Your liver holds about 24 hours worth, and for an athlete, it doesn't even hold that. You guys are gonna burn through it, okay? You burn through what's in your muscle. The only way to get it back in there is carbohydrate. So that's why I look for that 3-to-1. Low-fat chocolate milk's a 3-to-1 because it hits it quick, and then you get to your recovery. But that rock and refill is fine too, definitely. But yeah, don't be afraid of, something has a little bit of sugar in it. Again, it's those giant amounts of added sugar, and if that's all you're eating, then yeah, it's a problem. Okay, but typically, if we want to gain muscle, I bump up your carbohydrates and your fat. Okay, you still have to have that certain amount of protein, but again, you want those protein calories to be available for muscle building. So make sure you have enough carbohydrate and fat to meet your energy requirements for the day. Okay. What else did you have?
And I'm assuming the same thing with bread, kind of how we were talking about. So like before sandwiches, if you're eating anything, but like it's totally okay to eat.
Oh God, yeah, I want you to have bread before.
Okay.
Oh, heavens, yes. Yeah, because that's gonna be a good source of carbohydrate, that's gonna digest quickly. The protein's gonna take a little bit longer, but it's also gonna help to sustain you through that match, absolutely.
Okay. And then one more little, I don't know if you had this before, you probably, but I'm allergic to nuts, and that's like a really big source of protein. What's a good replacement for that?
Do you do okay with soy? Soy is a complete protein, any type of lean meats can work for you, chicken, salmon.
Okay.
Are you allergic to peanuts and tree nuts?
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we gotta be careful with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get you some other things, beans, like kidney beans, those types of beans.
In terms of snacks and stuff, it's like there's some protein bars I have and I eat, but like a lot of things like trail mix, anything like
Stuff
that.
like that we can do
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, I can get you some ideas.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
What do you think is like dairy milk versus almond milk? Which one is better to drink?
Depends on why you're drinking almond milk.
I don't know. I just
Okay.
like always hear that it's better.
The thing with almond milk versus dairy, the amount of nutrients that are in cow's milk is off the chart versus an almond milk. Because the calcium, the bioavailability of the calcium in dairy is natural. What they have to do to almond milk is add some calcium to it. As you'll see, there's a giant amount of calcium in most almond milks. Nutrient-wise, there's way more in cow's milk. Bioavailability-wise, cow's milk's going to absorb better. However, if you have an allergy or you just don't like dairy, almond milk will suffice. I mean, it's still going to give you protein. It's still going to give you some nutrients. But as far as a nutrient profile, cow's milk is one of those whole foods, so you pretty much absorb everything.
So, read in an article about sodium intake in athletes that it is a good thing, and that if it says like something's like 250 milligrams of sodium, like that's still good. We shouldn't just avoid it just because it says
No,
high
and-
sodium.
No, in fact, unless you have hypertension, as an athlete, you don't restrict your sodium. Okay, because we have to treat you differently because you are not the sedentary couch person who's not sweating, right? This person who's sitting and not doing anything, they're not sweating. You guys are sweating, you guys are working, you're losing sodium in your sweat. So we don't restrict your sodium intake because it does a couple of things. It balances your electrolytes, right? If you lose sodium, you've got to replace it, but it also helps to make you guys thirsty. So that's why I don't restrict sodium because of the fact you guys lose so much. In fact, you guys can all do like a little test, your black shirts. If after a really hot, sweaty practice, let them air dry and see if you have white marks on them. Okay, because if you do, everybody has some, but if you have a lot, that means you are a super salty sweater. You need more salt than the average person. And that's one of the best ways. My daughter has her knee pads from basketball. The black ones have rings all over them.
So then would you recommend
Add it
adding
up.
salt to?
Yeah, don't be afraid, don't, like, put the salt shaker back on the table. Yeah, yeah, now your moms might say no for her, because she's older, hypertension, you know, can go as you get older, one of those great things about aging. Right? It's bad, it's painful. But for an athlete who does not have hypertension, no, I do not restrict yourself.
I was gonna ask about the milk, does it matter the percent, like I've been doing fat free a lot, does it matter, it's like all.
The nutrient profile is the same, whole milk versus skim, the only thing that's different is the fat. So you're okay with that, and we typically go with, 2% and 1%. I myself can't even drink skim, it's like white water, can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. But nutrient wise, there's no difference, calorie wise, it's because of the fat difference.
So
Yes,
in that skim milk, there still needs to be some fat because for like vitamin A, D, E, K, right?
Yeah, there's a tiny,
So
tiny,
there
tiny,
has
tiny
to be
bit,
some.
yeah, because the vitamin A and the vitamin D, they're fat soluble, so you gotta have a little bit, yeah. But, nutrient wise, it's calcium's the same, potassium's the same, all that's the same. Yes, ma'am,
What is your opinion about coffee, like decaf?
I love it. You love it?
Yeah, I love it.
I am
I like tea too.
okay, what we look at when it's on here, because it says like avoid caffeine, everybody metabolizes caffeine completely differently, right? You can have some people who can drink caffeine and not bounce off the walls and not have to pee every 5 minutes.
That's the opposite of her, so that's why
So
she's probably
she's,
asking.
are you a peer?
I'm
Are you a
sorry.
caffeine peer? Does it make you pee?
I don't really do caffeine.
Okay,
Like I usually drink decaf coffee because it makes me like
crazy,
not good.
got it,
It's just like it makes me sick and
okay.
I get like shaky from
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah, so you metabolize it crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that, I can drink it during the day, but it makes me pee like crazy, because it's diuretic, okay, it's gonna pull fluid off your system. But some people can drink it and nothing, have no buzz, have no, extra sense to go, nothing. It just depends on how you metabolize it. What you guys have to understand is, if you drink a lot of coffee and then, for instance, you do a 5-hour energy shot and then you do a Red Bull and you have to pee in a cup, you could test positive.
So you're okay, like if we're drinking coffee in the morning, as long as we're drinking enough water to balance it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unless you're like, how big's your cup, like this?
No, I only drink a little. Okay.
Yeah, I love coffee as a pre-workout. I hate pre-workouts, I just hate them. And you guys have to be very, very careful, anything that you do can make it pop. Pre-workouts are notorious for making it pop on a drug test. Because there's so much caffeine in them, there's so much
Yeah, we're not even-
questionable stuff. Yeah,
We
so
still
I
gotta
would,
start changing before we.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, because the proprietary blend, you have no idea what it is. There's no way, I mean, you can be a little bit safer if you have like an informed choice. My favorite is NSF for sport, but I will never tell you you're 100% safe. There's no such thing as a safe supplement. You have to make the decision, does the reward outweigh the risk? Is it worth that risk of popping and you're out for a year, right? And caffeine can, I myself think you would have a heart attack if you had that much caffeine in your system that you would pop on a drug test, but you don't know. It depends on how you metabolize it. And that's the thing, everybody metabolizes it differently. You may be somebody that holds on to it for hours and, so. But no, I like caffeine about a half hour before my workout. Because it actually does something called your perception of fatigue. It actually helps to delay that, so you can actually work a little bit harder. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're not drinking a gallon jug of it, yeah, it's fine, it's fine, yeah. Anybody else?
Okay.
Did this help you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, anybody that wants to get a hold of me, Coach has my contact, I live in Cushwa, you know where I live, right? But we can do one-on-one counseling, again, once season's over, if you guys want something a little more tailored to you yourself, we can do that.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome, guys,
Thank
thanks for
you.
having me. Let me know.
We have class at 5:30, it's 5:30, it's 4:30.
Darn it. I didn't see you all.
Thanks, great. All right.
Thank you.